Hey Renee, give me your experience that you had with the doctors and maybe some of the nurses there at the hospital that you were in.
Well, I had one main doctor while I was there, and she was impolite. We'll put it that way. She was impolite. When I first got there, I was completely in, un, unmovable. I'm not sure what that word is. It's one of those ones that I can't find in my brain
Yeah,
sometimes.
close enough.
And the doctor in the emergency room refused to believe that. She walked in, she took one look at me, and she said, "There cannot possibly be anything wrong with you because you are awake and talking." She proceeded to pinch the skin on my arm and twist it in a circle to get me to, she figured I would, natural human reaction, move my arm to make her stop. Of course, I couldn't move my arm, so she pinched a few inches down and did it again, and of course I couldn't move my arm, and I looked at her and I said, "Okay, I can feel that you're doing that, but I can't move my arm to make you stop, so you could, stop at any time, because I'm not going to move the arm." And that made her really mad. So then she started poking at my toes, and then she grabbed my arm, this one, and she held it up over my head and dropped it so that it landed on my face, because of course if you have control of your body, your natural reaction when somebody drops your arm is to stop it. And of course I whacked myself in the face. Well, apparently she thought that was funny, because she proceeded to do that 2 or 3 times, as had the ambulance driver, because I don't know what his problem was, but he didn't believe me either, and he whacked me with my own arm. Then he whacked me again, knocked the glasses off. Then he whacked me a third time, and I poked myself in the eye with my fingernails. He decided once I poked myself in the eye, he'd stop whacking me with my hand. But she proceeded to do it like 4 or 5 times, and just kept whacking me with my own arm. So then she sits the bed up, so I'm in a sitting position, and says, "Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Either you decide you're going to move, or I'm going to send you to a nursing home for the rest of your life." And then goes back down to my feet and starts poking at it with her little reflex hammer, trying to get me to move. And I can't move, and I'm sitting there going, "Okay, but I can't, and I don't know why. Can you tell me why I can't move?" So then she pokes at the other foot and repeats the threat, and of course I can't move. So then I says, "Look, I can't move." And at this point I'm starting to cry, because there's nothing else that works but my head. And finally she says, "Okay, you got 2 options. Either go home, or I'm going to put you in a nursing home." And I said, "Fine, do whatever you have to. If you got to stick me in a nursing home, then stick me in a nursing home, but do something." Well, that must have startled her, because she said, "Okay, I'm going to admit you," and left. Then the doctor I had for the rest of my stay came in, wrote out the admittance paperwork, and took me upstairs. If you thought the lady doctor that I had down in the emergency room was bad, you should have met the one I had upstairs. She was just lovely.
So to
She
speak.
told me to my face that people that have non-epileptic seizures are fakes, that the word, and I don't call it this, I call it NESD, non-epileptic seizures, but she still uses the term PNES, meaning fake. In her mind, the P actually means fake, pseudo, not real, wrong. And she proceeded to tell me that I was faking everything, that I was having seizures because I felt like it, that every time I had a seizure, it was because I decided to roll my eyes up in my head and shake around because it was fun, and that I wasn't really having a seizure. And that everyone that has NESD are just people looking for attention. She was a lovely, lovely person to deal with, because she really, truly believed that the word pseudo in PNES meant the person is faking it, needs to see a psychiatrist. She told me that I was a manic depressant and needed to be on antipsychotic medication and severe antidepressant medication, and that would cure me of my need for attention and throwing myself on the floor.
My God.
I had a seizure almost every day that I was in the hospital. I say almost every day because there was one day when I had 2 seizures as opposed to 1. I had a nurse that thought that I was crazy. All of my nurses were amazing. The nurses were amazing, except one. I actually had to ask that she be taken off my case because she agreed with the doctor and she treated me like crap. And all of the other nurses went, I'm so sorry you got stuck with her. We don't even like working with that woman. So I didn't feel so bad when we looked her in the face and said, send us a different nurse. But they sent, the doctor sent me down for scans. Of course, I had a CT, I had an EKG, I had an EEG, and I had 2 MRIs, 5 tests in 3 days. And when they all came back clean, because as anybody with NESD knows, they never find anything when they do those scans, she decided, yep, she's right, I'm faking, I needed a shrink. So she sent a shrink to my room, and the shrink walks in, and I'm sitting there in the room with, I don't know, what was, how many of us were in the room, like 6?
Yeah, at least.
And
the whole family, almost.
And we're sitting there, and you have to understand my
We were
family.
having a good time laughing and joking and...
Exactly. We were having so much fun that a nurse had to come down from the nurse's station, which, by the way, was like 6 doors down, and ask us to be slightly quieter because they could hear us at the nurse's station. And he walks in, and here's this family unit sitting there talking and laughing and smiling that it literally took him by surprise. So, of course, everybody had to leave so I could have a conversation with the psychiatrist to make sure that I wasn't too clinically depressed or things like that. We didn't even get a third of the way through the exam before he started going, why am I here? You are the happiest, most well-adjusted person that I have ever met. You are clearly dealing with one of the most stressful situations of a person's life, and you're dealing with it by smiling and laughing and finding good humor in the whole situation, because that's how I deal with things. And he signed off on my case as nothing wrong with me psychologically, and that I clearly had non-epileptic seizures, and they were not caused by me being mentally deficient.
Right.
And so, of course, the next day when I proved that I wasn't having any neurological issues and I wasn't crazy, the doctor decided that would be the perfect time to send me home like this, completely unmovable. And at the time, I only had 2 fingers that moved. And so that is the reason that we have been fighting to get me into physical therapy and occupational therapy and possibly a rehab center, because the hospital should have released me into a rehab center. But because the doctor truly believed that all of this was fake and that my seizures were a grab for attention and that I was taking up her hospital bed because I wanted the attention from my family and the nursing staff and the doctors, she figured once I got home, I'd instantly be healed. Because after all, a family can't do all of the necessary stuff to get me on my feet, so I would just like snap out of it. Yeah, well, it's been like 2 weeks. I haven't snapped out of it yet. So she had it right on the ball, didn't she? So if you go to see a doctor and they tell you that you have PNES, remember that it is not pseudo. It is not fake. It is not all in your head. You are not crazy. Do not let them talk to you like that. You have non-epileptic seizure disorder. And all that means is that your brain is reacting differently than everybody else's. You are having real seizures. They are causing you to do real seizure behaviors. Just don't let them treat you that way. Take a breath and keep going. Keep fighting for for your health, for your own sanity,
And peace of mind.
for your own peace of mind. Fight with every part of you. Remember that this is not pseudo, and it is not fake. It is not made up. This is really happening to you. And those of us that deal with it have to stand together and say, look, somebody, listen. We're banding together on this. We are here. And we're going to make somebody listen until they figure this out.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to remind you to please subscribe and like and hit that little bell to get notifications of our next videos. It really helps us out when we have people that subscribe to us. And also look for our t-shirts. They're listed in the link in the descriptions. We appreciate everybody. Thank you.